see justice for Jane. Tonight, still no charges in the Bashara murder investigation.
Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Joanne Purton.
And I'm Diana Lewis. We have live Team 7 coverage. Cheryl Choden has more on why a Detroit police car showed up at the Grosse Pointe Park police station.
But we'll start with 7 Action News reporter Tom Wade with the latest now on this developing story. Tom, what can you tell us tonight?
Well, Joanne and Diana, the clock is ticking for police and prosecutors. Charges could come at any moment. Joseph Gantz remains at the Grosse Pointe Park police station. He's been here since early Tuesday morning, and late this afternoon, the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office says they have not received any paperwork from police for a warrant. Meanwhile, according to published reports, Bob Bashara took another lie detector test, and his lawyer claims he passed it. But the Grosse Pointe Park police chief says he has no knowledge of that. Bashara already failed one polygraph test, according to 7 Action News sources. As for Gantz, our sources tell us he has changed his story about what happened when Jane Bashara was murdered several times, going back and forth about exactly what role Bob Bashara played during the killing. And that first polygraph test was administered by Grosse Pointe Park Police here. And that second one, again, the chief of police here says he has no knowledge of it. Reporting live in Grosse Pointe Park, I'm Tom Wade, 7 Action News. Joanne and Diana, back to you.
Tom, have your sources given you any idea on a timeline for charges?
Okay, so I spoke with a high-level source who says generally police hold suspects only for about 72 hours, and then they either have to get charges filed or they have to release them. But in some cases, they're able to sort of blur those lines. But in this case, they believe because it's so high profile that something will be done in the next couple of days. I also want to mention that I was also told, as we showed you a few days ago, Bashara's computer was taken from his home. My source says one of the reasons why they did that was to get more information about his finances. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Tom. And let's turn live now to 7 Action News reporter Cheryl Choden.
Cheryl, I understand Detroit police showed up today at the Grosse Pointe Park police station. What can you tell us about that?
Well, absolutely. It was about 3:45. Take a look. The car is still here now. We've been here all day waiting for new developments. And when we saw the car drive up, an evidence technician who most of us recognize from cases in Detroit, we do know him, he drove up and he started carrying evidence into the Grosse Pointe Park police station. He's not saying what it was or for what case it was, and nobody is confirming tonight what case it is for. However, the Jane Bashara murder case is the only huge joint investigation that Detroit and Grosse Pointe Park have right now, so there is a strong speculation that this is evidence in the Jane Bashara case. Now, of course, last Friday night, we were at the house, the Bashara house on Middlesex and Grosse Pointe Park, when the Grosse Pointe Park police and Detroit police went into that house and were all over that house taking evidence out. They did take the computers that Tom mentioned just a moment ago. They took so many pictures. They took all kinds of evidence in connection with this case. So we are assuming or speculating that some of the evidence is what was brought here today. Nobody is confirming that right now, but this just happened within the last hour or so. So we're still working our sources. We tried to talk to the chief, but of course he's meeting with the evidence technician right now. But again, a new development. Detroit brings evidence over to Grosse Pointe Park. Reporting live in Grosse Pointe Park, I'm Cheryl Choden, 7 Action News.
Cheryl, say it is evidence from the Bashara case. Would that indicate, do you think, that Detroit police are handing the case over to Grosse Pointe Park police?
You know, and I can see why someone would think that and why you're asking me that, but I did call Detroit police and they said that this is still an ongoing joint investigation. There has been some speculation that if, in fact, Jane Bashara was killed in Grosse Pointe Park, that the park would take it over. But right now, police are saying it's still a joint investigation.
All right, all hands on, I guess, Cheryl. Thank you very much. Count on 7 Action News and WXYZ.com to stay on top of this developing story. We are learning more about Bob Bashara's life away from his wife, Jane. It's a story we're working on for 7 Action News at 6.